All right, I think we are live now. Um, oh, our intro video they played today was very nice. All right, you want to kick it off, Alfred?
Yeah, welcome again this morning for another edition and episode of the Drew and Fair Open Bar podcast. Um, Today we're going to be discussing another um, fascinating topic. One that is very important, but is very rarely talked about in our community and around us. We rarely talk about this topic, and we're going to be diving into it today. You know, which is um, the fear of being alone, or what it is means to being alone. You know, um, yeah, the fear of being alone is very important. Because it is relatable. And we rarely talk about this. So, what um the fear of being alone? What do you think for an angle, Jisu? Like, have it occurred to you to your end that sometimes have you seen find yourself you know being alone? When was the last time you actually was alone? Spend a long time, go solo, all of this stuff.
Um, yeah, I mean that's a beautiful question. Before I, you know, go into that answer, firstly, let me welcome everyone to today's episode. Um, it's exciting that we are here again. Firstly, let us apologize. We want to apologize for starting a little late today. We kind of experienced some technical issues in the back, and it took us a couple hours to get it fixed and to adjust some things also. But it's exciting again that we are here today, bringing you live this talk or this conversation, the fear of being alone. And I think just like you just posed the question, whether it's the fear of being alone or being single or being by yourself, you know, this thing sometimes it can be very overwhelming, and I think it's at a point um where many of us feel that we are being left over, or we are we are abstaining ourselves from people, and we have the we have the mindset that um people might look at us like being weird.
Right.
It has happened so many times. Like for me, I've experienced it so many times where sometimes I want to have that mean time. I always call it a mean time for me. A time where I would just set aside and just be by myself, try to reassess and rethink my life, and try to go over some things that I feel that are important to me. But then on the contrary, people might look at you to be like, okay, what are you trying to prove? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you trying to stay away from people? Like, why you being like that? Like, why you trying to show us some attitude? And and then you try to
Yeah.
be misjudged by people these are things that a lot of us don't really do. A lot of people don't really do that. It's not a common thing. Like it's like
Absolutely.
you said, it's a rare occurrence to really see people setting time aside for themselves to kind of reflect on their life. So yeah, I mean, I've had a situation or instances where so many times where something I just, I mean, even if just by me being in my bed, being in my room by myself, just don't want to interact with no one, don't want to like, um, be around people for that moment. Just want to be by myself to kind of think, about myself. Yeah, but many of us don't really do that, and I think because again, due to fear, fear of being misjudged by people, people might look at you weird, and so many other factors that come into play, which we might discuss, in this topic today. But yeah,
Absolutely. And I think it's very relatable, like you mentioned. People look at you as being weird. It's the instant that always the first thing that people minds go to. But the question becomes, like why do we fear solitude? Solitude, it teaches you a great lessons. And we're going to be diving into that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and there's a difference. People really need to recognize and understand that being lonely and being alone is two different things. You know,
Absolutely.
you can have your alone time, but being lonely is a whole different thing. But it's a whole different aspect of life by itself that is kind of different. Um,
Yep.
you can be alone. That doesn't mean that you are lonely.
Yep.
So there's a difference. And once we try to recognize that, then we will know that it is necessary in life to embrace that solitude moment, you know,
Yep.
embrace that time. It is great. It's there is everyone's life. Once we try to recognize that time of or that period of our life, I think we can kind of make some significant changes on how we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So well, let's go to our next our first second
Yeah.
here. What talks about where does this come from? Okay, the fear of being alone. Where does it come from?
Wonderful.
So um as we said, you know, um, many of us have this issue of, fearing being alone. Um, we we fear that whenever we we try to take some time or we want to take some time off for ourselves, it means that you know there are so many factors that might come into play, like being misjudged or some of or just have that fear of just being by ourselves that we may feel like we sometimes feel that we are being left out. We are being left out of society, that nobody cares, nobody wants you. But come on,
Right.
if you make it a part of your habit,
Hmm.
I think you can significantly grow and become a better person the moment you start to embrace that moment of your life. And
Yep.
and that is why we want to talk about the first segment, the first aspect of this. Where does the fear of being alone come from? Our innate need for connection. All right. So I'll kick this off. We
Absolutely.
human, we are wired to be social creature. Every one of us, every human being as a whole, even from the beginning, from the very beginning when God created man, he put man in a very social environment with the animals and interacting with everything, interacting with nature as a whole. And then he figured out that okay, I think this being is the only one of his kind. Let me make him another person that will be a help person, to him, a partner to him. And that's where the issue of Adam and Eve, came into be. So we are wired to be socially connected, but that does not also limit your ability for you as a human being to try to like create a moment for yourself. Even even Jesus in the Bible, um, most of the time was always seen by himself. If he was not
Yep.
praying, He was either, communicating with God or interacting or just having that moment by himself where, you know, he's kind of going over that self reflect, reflection time or reflective time. So, you know, despite it being our innermost most nature, you know, but we, we need to embrace that self moment time too as well. Because um we associate being alone with rejection or isolation, which
Yeah.
is a very bad mentality, you know, because whenever you feel like, oh, but me being by myself and mean I'm isolating myself from from nature, from the community, from my peers, from my family, from my friends. And
Yep.
and then it brings that sense of rejection into being that, you are being rejected by people and you are being misjudged by people and all of these things start to come in. So,
Yep.
and due to that, in the need for connection where we want to be interacting with people, want to be in the midst of people and all of these things is sometimes a failure. Because even let's say for instance, many people due to this fear, most of the time find themselves into wrong places or into wrong relationship at times. Like you see someone will be in a relationship will be in a very toxic. That's why you see and let me just be very radical with this point. Okay, many people find themselves into the wrong environment because of this issue.
Yep.
You know, you see yourself associating with wrong friends. You can't get yourself out of it because you feel that if you isolate yourself from them, you feel you'll be rejected or you'll be overlooked or disgust or disgusted. Like you'll be like like a weirdo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So many people, like many young people, find themselves into wrong places, or wrong gathering, wrong friendship because they have that fear of being alone. And like we said, we are wired as a human. Every one of us, we are wired as a social being. you know. But despite that, if you see yourself in an environment or in a maze of toxic relationship, toxic friendship, I think it's time for you to kind of rethink yourself or rethink your surrounding, that you are in, and try to find that refined moment and isolate yourself from it. Yeah. So what do you have to say
Yeah.
about this, my friend?
I think it resonates deeply. Like we said, this is rarely talked about, but everyone can relate to this. Wherein people think that being alone is weird or being alone has settings. It's just for some reason there are a lot of stigma uh, attached,
Yeah.
attached to it, and again, we always encourage solitude, you know, and yeah, because like we mentioned, it's natural. It's natural for us to need someone, for us to need that connection. It's very natural, as it seems. So whenever we see ourselves being alone, we instantly think we need validations, we need that attention. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and definitely that bring us to our next point. Anxiety about self-worth and the validation we seek from others. And just like you said, we always want to be validated by people. You know, we want to be in that environment where we are accepted by other people, you know.
yep,
And trust me, sometimes it might be the wrong place, you know, it might be the wrong place. And many of us don't recognize that because of the fear of being by ourselves. We are afraid that if we be by ourselves, we will not be validated by people, we will not be looked at by people, society will look at us different, and our peers gonna look at us different, and a whole lot
yep,
of other things that play in. But it is necessary sometimes, for you to embrace solitude. But like because uh, uh um it is. it is part of nature that regardless, of you trying to please people or not, there will be an instance where people still gonna say something. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, like we said, it's part of life. But you need to embrace that, you know self moment in time, that that time where you can set aside for yourself to be able to reflect on your life, reflect on things that are important to you. you know um s- Sorry for that breaking. Our Instagram account is live right now. I think we had a little technical break in there, but yeah, we are live now. So, again, apologies for the breaking. I just got some note that our Instagram was not live, but I think we are good now. Yep, we are. Okay. So again, like I was saying, right? We need to embrace that time where we as individuals can set aside for ourselves. Set some time aside for ourselves to reflect on our life. To reflect on things that are important to us. You know, and it doesn't matter if people look at you to be a weirdo, or people look at you to be, you know, um, different. I mean, to be honest, as long it's a time that you're gonna set aside for yourself to reflect on your own life, to kind of mold yourself. I think it's important that you make up the decision sometimes to do these things, which will better improve yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Resonate again well. Like the anxiety of self worth and the validation we see from others, it's very common, right? If you, for example, um, if you receive some promotions from work, you receive some um, improvement in your life. If you feel that if someone not commending you, say, hey, thank you, or appreciating what you got, for some reason we think it's a bad thing, and you don't. And again, we'll be diving into those tips, but like you really don't need those, you know. But it's natural because we constantly want, as a human being, it's natural to feel that you need human being to always be by your side. Um, but there are times in life, you know, you understand that you really value um the you really value the lonely time, like we mentioned in a previous episode, taking yourself out on a date. There'll be those moments that you actually appreciate it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Like we said, it's important, to be honest. It's important, like, um and I think, like, those moments also uh bring you to a point where you can kind of build some personal relationship with God as well. I think that we
Yep,
mentioned in our last episode. You need this moment also to kind of build some personal connection with God. You know, you need to understand the Bible by yourself. You need that moment where you can pray and be able to reflect, about what God is doing in your life,
yep,
you know, about your future, or what you want things to be, or how you want things to be for you. So it's important. Sometimes take this moment out, take yourself on a date, like we said, or just have that moment where you can go somewhere and just sit by yourself, just you, your Bible, and your notepad and your pen, and just, sit and read and pray, and have that self reflect moment. Yeah. So, you know, trust me, being alone is overwhelming, to be honest. Is it is an overwhelming movement. It's not it does not come easy, or it doesn't start easy. It's not something easy to do, to be honest. It takes time, but it start with you as a person first, trying to recognize what is important to you. What is important to you, and how you can build up yourself as an individual, as a person. And once you try to recognize or identify these things or assess these things, then you can start to make the effort, you know, to try to create this moment for yourself, which is, just me, it is benefiting. The moment you start to do it, like at first, it feel like we said, it will feel stressful, it will feel weird, because we are wired to be around people. Like everybody want to be around someone, regardless. You want to be in that community, in that environment, among your peers, and all of these stuff. And if you have someone that grow up being like that, or you have knew yourself over the years to be like that, now trying to learn another habit of being by yourself, it takes time.
Yeah,
It takes time. You there will be a lot of self-talk process that will come in the way, you know. But if you look at the benefit also, the cost and benefit of it, and trust me, a lot of time the benefit will outweigh the cost. You know, a lot of things
absolutely.
you need to identify in that time period to be able to, you know, create this moment for yourself. And the moment you start to do these things, you will see how well you're gonna improve within yourself as a person. And it also sets you apart from a lot of things too, and also from your peers, because you know that moment is when you try to improve yourself, embrace yourself, begin to understand yourself, you know, begin to reassess, relearn some things, unlearn some things, unlearn some bad habit or some habit that is not benefiting or getting any good result, and try to relearn some habits that will be good. And that alone can even improve your relationship with your friends as well, or improve your relationship within your community. The moment you start to embrace this time, set this time aside for yourself where you can kind of reflect on yourself, it mold you to be someone better.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and most of the time, this term is usually associated with a negative connotations. We and again, um, sounding negative or feeling negative is a natural thing for us. I don't know, for some reason we always feel negative. So anything that have to do with separations or being alone, or we feel that society pressures, and we immediately attach a negative connotation to it. You know,
yeah,
we are so negative,
yeah,
and it's interesting to see how negative.
yeah.
I don't know if we have become, um,
Because we are wired, we are social beings, you know what I'm saying? And like we said, it's part of nature. That's how we were built. So, whenever you try to do these things now, like set this time aside for yourself, or try to learn this new habit, it become problem. Then a lot of negativity come into play. You start to feel incomplete. Like,
right,
okay, it's just about me now. Like, nobody
right,
else is around me now, and then a lot of funny thoughts
absolutely.
start to come in your mind. So yeah, because by nature we are wired to be a social being. So that's how God
I
built
think
us.
so.
So it's just but again, it takes time for you to develop these new habits too as well. And the more
Yep,
time you put into it, the better you become. I mean, it does not make you to be, you are not being alone or lonely. I mean, you're not being lonely. You just want to create that time for yourself where you can kind of embrace yourself, learn yourself, know yourself, understand yourself, learn new things about yourself, discover your purpose, you know, and all of these things too. So
yep,
but again, the negativity part of it is why it will, weigh a lot of people down, and that's where the fear comes into a lot of time.
yep.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. We're just gonna go to our next point, which is segment two. Again, thank you. You are listening to the Julian Fred Open Mic podcast, wherein we dive into reality show every day, from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We bring it to you as per our experiences and our observations. Um, Again. you know, we try to make it much as relatable as possible. Um, it is those conversations and discussion or topic is very much relating. It's just that it's rarely talked about. So
Yeah,
this is why we decided to talk about these things.
yeah,
Segment
absolutely.
two, segment two. How fear of being alone affect us. Do you want to kick up?
Yeah, for sure. You know, like we said, you know, the fear of being alone, has a lot of effect, right? Like we said, there are pros and cons, all right. There's constant the constant effect, right? And m- many times, many of us, you know, we look at the negative outcome of it than the positive side, and that's where most people have the problem.
Yep,
Okay, like we said, suicidal pressure.
yep,
How the society gonna feel about you? Um, Validation. You know, you feel like you want to be accepted by society. You want to be validated by people. And you want to be applauded by people. Like you have the fear that you being by yourself gonna create a negative moment for you. Or gonna be create a negative outcome for you, or it's gonna affect you. So, one thing that many people have, or issues that many people face, that we identify here is staying in an unhealthy relationship. Okay. Like we mentioned previously in our conversation that many people stay in toxic friendship or relationship simply because of the idea of being alone, and if they feel that it feel worse to be by yourself. So they really don't care if they are in a toxic environment or a toxic relationship or an unhealthy friendship or unhealthy relationship, because their mindset is that by then leaving that friendship or relationship or whatever they are into that is unhealthy for them, you know, they're gonna feel worse about themselves because they are not used to being by themselves. You know,
absolutely.
they
Wow.
they are so attached to people, to the extent that even if they find themselves in an environment, in a relationship or a friendship that is unhealthy for them, that moment where they have to rethink themselves or rewind their mind, you know, to understand that what they are into is not, it's not benefiting them, it's not good for them. They dis they see themselves to be stuck into it, that there's no way out, they cannot get out because how would people feel about you, or what would people think about you if you try to do these things? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because of that social connectivity. So, you know, that's what many people fear. And definitely it does affect many of us. Many of us this thing affect, like, to be honest. Most especially the young people, you know, most especially we young people, especially nowadays where and we always talk about it, social media and technology as a whole, and how the world is being wired now, how things are being built now. You know, social connectivity or social connection has been, improved to the extreme now. So many people might, find themselves into so many things that it's not really good for them. So many things that are affecting them, but they see themselves stuck in it because they feel that they can't get out of it. You know,
Yep.
they have that fear that they don't want to be by themselves. They always want to be in the midst of people and all of these things. So, and a lot of time you see people try to find themselves into so many relationships, like so many, things, just because they want to feel, they want to keep themselves connected to people. You know,
Yep.
they want to see themselves connected to people, which a lot of time is not really healthy for you. You just need to take a step aside and readjust yourself. Yeah.
Wow. That's a selling point you just mentioned. Relationship. Again, it doesn't have to be. It could be. it's a combination of both. It could be a romantic relationship, it could be a family relationship, it could be the combination of everything, right?
Yep.
So, but the thing is, sometimes, especially some romantic relationships, people will say that I have invested so much. This is
Oh
6 years, 12 years.
yeah.
So I feel like if I leave this relationship, I'm afraid to start over.
Yeah.
We often hear
Hmm.
this. It's very common we hear in our society that people gonna judge me now. Have 4 or 5 kids now. I'm not going to. There's a
Yeah.
constant pressures from
Yeah.
society that we got
Hmm.
to just get stuck in on like healthy relationships. One, but wait a second. If you've been into with a person, whatever relationship you might be in, for 6, 12 years, and it's not healthy, are you still willing to give it another more 12 years of your
I
life?
know.
It's
Right.
right. And again, it doesn't have to be let flip the coin. It doesn't have to be only on a romantic relationship. Let's say family relationship as well. Um,
Yeah.
People, you're not being constantly in a supported environment. Why would you still be there? Because it's important to be your relationship partner is very important because it will help you grow. It will help you improve. Um, Constantly being in part of a supportive environment will actually open your mind. It will you know, as it will really connect you to yourself
Yeah.
to understand. All right. So, and it will help you. It will open a lot of possibilities for you. Being in the
Sure.
healthy relationships. Um, but if it's not healthy, obviously you got to reassess it. Um, uh, uh, if it was given another more 12 years, 15 years, 25 years, or whatever years that you have already invested, if you are willing to give it another time.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And that's why many people find themselves. Many people are stuck into these things because of fear. They have that fear of being alone. Like, trust me, you can be in something for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years that it's not improving. You're not benefiting anything from it positively. And it's unhealthy for you. And you know for sure that yes, indeed, it's unhealthy for you. And like a lot of the time, many people know. Many no, bro. To be honest, many people are not that ignorant. Okay,
Yeah,
people know that yes, indeed, this thing I'm in is not benefiting me, like 100%. But they feel stuck.
absolutely.
They feel stuck because of fear. Like, um, I can't get out. What would people think, or how would this person feel? I've invested all of this time and all these years. Like,
Yeah.
trust me, make that step. You never know what will be the outcome of it. Yeah. So for sure.
I mean, if you obviously, again, I'm not going to go into a relationship too much, but if you there of course there are pros or cons of anything. You can always weigh the coin to see which one worth it, which one's not worth it. If you have already been with this person, obviously, so it's a whole dynamic of it. I wish we're not going to get into, but the point is staying in healthy relationship most of the time. If the fear of being alone, that would cause us to stay in a healthy relationship. Is our point we're trying to stress here.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we got a comment that came in. From Sandra. She said we don't even think about the positive part at first, which is true. You know, like a lot of time, everybody just think about the negative. Like, what would be the outcome? Like, how would people feel? Like, you know, what would people think? Like, we don't look at the positive side. Like, okay, what would I benefit from the? What would be my benefit if I make this move? Like,
Yep.
uh, what are some of the changes that I feel I'm gonna experience when I make this move? Like, think positive too. It's not all about what will others, what will you as a person that is trying to learn this new habit,
Yep.
you know, feel about yourself? What changes do you think is gonna bring to you? If we start to identify these things, trust me, that's why that's the first step. We will say, that's the first step. That's what we say. Try to try to assess the situation, you know, and begin to analyze it. Like, what would be look at the positive and the negative, not just the negative side of it. Because trust me, if you just continue to look at the negative side, the negative gonna outweigh the positive to the extent that you're gonna be so afraid to even take that step. So
Yeah,
always look at the pros and cons. Most especially look at the positive side of it too as well. And
absolutely.
and that moment, like we said, can even be a moment of self improvement for you that you know that could even improve your relationship with whoever you are in with, or whatever relationship you have out there with people. It can come a lot of time it might improve it as well because you are self developing yourself as well as an individual. You are self developing yourself, self improving yourself because many times this movement can create personal development. It
Absolutely.
creates personal development. And you as an
Mm.
individual, once you try to develop yourself, you affect your society, you affect your surrounding,
Yep.
you know. But people are afraid to take this step, and that's why everybody just in the same old thing year in year out. Nobody's growing, nobody's improving. Like trust me, I sometimes I be like, I don't want to be in the midst of a friendship where every one of us just stuck at the same level
Yeah.
year in year out. Like it just doesn't make no sense. Like it doesn't add up, man. Like 5 years of friendship, every one of us in the same thing, still doing the same 9 to 5, pushing, and nobody is improving. Like nobody is going out of the scope. Nobody is developing and coming up with other brilliant ideas and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, there is a problem. So even
Yeah,
if you're in a friendship, in a relationship, these are things we have to look at to pay key attention to some of these things.
absolutely. And so, just to remind again our audience, it's think of it as some belief that you were told for, some things that you were taught from, let's say, from society, right? From school or friends, family. You observe people growing up and constantly don't want to be alone, and most of us will observe parents being hate, parents being fighting all the time. But again,
Mhm.
they were still in a relationship because the aftermath of it. It'd be like, if I leave
Yeah,
this guy, even though he hit on me, even though he keep hitting on me, and if I leave this guy now, I'm going to who gonna take care of my kids, who's gonna do all of
mhm.
this, or if I need a woman here, and it's just but the point is your joy is important, right?
Yeah,
Don't allow unhealthy relationship to steal your joy.
yeah,
So the fear of being the fear of being alone should not make you to continue unhealthy relationships, because your life is important. Your life is not a game. It's a serious thing. You got to take it seriously.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And that brings us to our next discussion here also. Over scheduling our life. This one, I ain't gonna lie, bro. 100%. Most especially for many of us that live in the diaspora, bro. Many people are caught up into this. Like I understand. Yeah, people will say, "Oh, monetary factor play in." Yes, I do. I do get that part. But a lot of time, because of social connectivity or social connection, a lot of people overschedule their life. You know, um, you will see people will fill their life with activity to the extent that you know, um, they trying to avoid being alone. You know,
Right,
you see someone is people. Some people are in three, four, five, six, seven groups. Different organizations here and there, and they got like three, four, five, two, three jobs, and they are in like six, seven, eight organizations only because they have the fear of being by themselves. Like, how will you embrace yourself? How will you reflect on yourself when you are kind of caught up with all of these things? There's no time for yourself. Like, that's why you see many people come to this country, they work up to their 70s, 80s, and 90s, bro, because
yeah,
they have not reassessed themselves to identify their purpose in life, like what they really want to do or who they really want to become. What or if they want to make on society. You know,
absolutely.
so People overschedule them left also because of these same things. This fear of being alone. Like they are so caught
Yep.
up in a whole lot of activities, a lot more activities that to the extent that they they don't even have that self moment. They don't have that time for themselves to even sit down and think about their own life. They are always into something here and there, and these things are killing a lot of people, bro. It's killing us because, and sometimes, just me, a lot of time it's not wrong. Nobody says it's wrong to socialize. You know, it's not wrong to socialize. Um, it's all part of life. It's part of growth as well too. But it helps you connecting. To be connected to other people, to learn from other people, learn some other new ideas and skills. But at some point, you need to you know, have that self moment, that mean time, man. I always call it that mean time, have that time for yourself,
Yeah.
sit back and rethink your life. Like, things might not be going straight sometimes because you may not even know that things are not going straight because you're not even sit back to identify what's going wrong or not.
Yep.
Many people are doing things the wrong way, but they don't know why because they have not sit down to reassess themselves, like ask themselves, what am I doing wrong? What am I
Hmm.
doing right? You know, what am I doing that's affecting someone's life, or what impact am I making or affecting? These are questions you need to ask yourself sometimes. Like instead of just you wake up in the morning, you hear you on this one, you doing this, you doing that, like you are so caught up 24/7
Yep.
without even thinking about your own life. And people get old before that time, before they even realize, you're already old. Then, I mean, so these things are good mostly for young people sometimes, Um, you
Yep.
know, over scheduling your lives is not a good thing. Like sometimes you need to find a moment for yourself where you can sit back and reflect on your life and try to identify some things in your life that are good or bad or going wrong or not. Yeah.
100%. And I think it's like we mentioned, it's not bad to have things on your plate like going to work or whatnot, but it's important to create balance.
Yes.
Um, so finding that balance wherein that you are doing, make sure one thing is not over stepping the other, because at the end of the day you're gonna burn out. And
Yeah.
you know, I really something I really try to question most of the time. I know many people don't question it. How how can you enjoy yourself at age 65? Like, right? And they call it retirement, when you retire at 65, and now you're trying to use all of this money to take vacations on here and there to do this.
Yeah, it's too late. I believe it's too late.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we gotta
Yeah,
change the narrative. We gotta change the trajectory. Those things that we were taught, most again, it's not true.
yeah.
You know,
Like that's
like
necessarily a program things for us now. So everybody just go with the flow, and
yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
people don't know the negative outcome of these things.
Yep. So if you like, especially if you just are in a relationship and you just break up from a relationship, and you're not trying to like schedule yourself a lot of single events and to hopefully get another person, you wouldn't take the time to reflect what you did wrong and what he did wrong or what she
Yeah,
did wrong, and you're
yeah,
just trying to like get into it quickly for, oh, I
yeah,
just got him other one. It's but
yeah,
yeah, but these are observations we notice out there, guys.
yeah. To be honest, because like a lot of people are afraid to be by themselves. To be honest, like you see someone out today, tomorrow they're into another thing, only because they don't want to be alone. Sometimes
Yep.
listen. Sometimes that relationship, even though that relationship did not work out, give it some time. Sit down and think and ask yourself some questions like, what went wrong? Was it from my end or was it from the other person's end? Like what I need to do better to improve myself next,
Yep.
or the next relationship that I'm gonna get into. And sometimes set some boundaries. Setting boundaries and having a sense of balance, like I first said, is great. It's good, most especially for us. It's very important. You know, um, there's nothing wrong with doing things that you love to do. Like we shared in our previous episode. Find something that you love, that you are passionate about, but also have some sense of balance in your life as well. You can't
Yep.
just be doing things year in, year out every single day of your life to the point that you can even sit down and reflect on yourself a little bit, or sit down and assess some things a little bit and ask yourself some questions, or look at things from another angle, sit back and just view things from another angle, you know. Um, so yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a very great topic, because this is a lot of things that many of us resonate with. And we would love to hear from you guys out there. Please keep a comment coming. Um, we are live on YouTube and Instagram this morning, and also for Twitch users, we are also live on Twitch. And again, thank you for tuning in, and for today's episode. So we're gonna move on to our next segment, which might be second to the last, and we're gonna wrap things up a little faster today. We're gonna look at the hidden benefits of being alone. I mean,
Yep.
I think we have talked about a lot of benefits here. We're just gonna narrow it down a little bit more. Um, but yeah, so kicking it off with the first one here, we have time for reflection and growth.
Mm. Which is again, it's always important to reflect. And because if you reflect, it kind of connect you to your purpose, it connect you to your creator. We notice, um, we notice this year when Jesus, um, serious time in the Bible will withdraw from the public, and he will go to a private setting, and he go and go and pray to his Father.
Yeah,
To God. We can go and pray to God. So it connected him to a purpose again. It gave him strength. And have you noticed? Like, I know for sure we all read about it, but like always time. God will when Jesus spent more time with his a long time. He come out more strong. He will do more miracles, and will do very great work. Then most of sometimes he will be with people again, and then he will withdraw from them, and he come out again. He will create more and do more work because it's which I kind of the disciples, for example, they didn't understand that. They didn't understand that that was the reason why when they try casting out some demons, they were not able to. And Jesus told them that this kind can only be done by prayer and fasting. So, which means that you need that a long time to connect you again to your purpose, the Creator, and meditation to meditate on a lot of to a group to see what's not working and what is working to grow from that. So let's hear you
yeah,
from
yeah.
Edith.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just like you said, Jesus was like one prodigal example that many believers, um, as a whole, should follow, because, like you said, there are a lot of times, a lot of instances that he always had that moment by himself. A lot of time, you know, and many of us just fail to recognize that, like, it's important, like, take some time off for self reflection, like we continue to say, take that time out, do something different with your time. you know it shouldn't just be all about work, 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 or whatever you have going on in your surrounding. Sometimes you
Yep.
just need that time out. Take that time off and just go somewhere, travel, like travel alone, do some solo thing, go out for dinner by yourself, you know go out for dinner by yourself, travel by yourself, you know go somewhere private and quiet, and just reflect on yourself, reflect on your growth, like what are you doing wrong, or what can you do better, how can you improve yourself better, you know How can you make an impact in the society? What do you think that you can do different that would benefit someone out there, or that would improve you as a person? You know, about that personal growth. Sometimes take that moment out and just do something different. It is important because that's how you grow. Like a lot of time, that's these time are important because you're gonna learn so much about yourself the moment you start to create this time and moment for yourself, right? You're gonna learn a lot about yourself that you can even imagine. And many of us are
Yep.
stuck in the same area year in and year out because we have not developed that. We have not developed this time for ourselves. We work from January to December. The Sometimes the whole 365 or 366 days in a year, man. We don't have one single day out to just do anything. We are so caught up with the societal effects of life, you know, bills and everything else. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
trust me, sometimes have a time of reflection and personal growth. You know, these these moments gonna help you a lot. To be honest, there are a lot of people who have practiced these or learned these new habits or these habits, and they have become valuable people to society. They have become better people
Absolutely.
to society. Yeah,
I'm not sure my personal experience with this year. It's very awesome, man. There was a time most often I would take myself to the this or you can eat buffet, and I would because I would go there by myself and would collect about 4 or 5 pencils. I would put it on the table by myself. I would eat
right.
by myself, and the interesting thing I will find out is that because I want to take a self reflection here, what I do is that I go to the buffet and then I will eat. And then after I finish eating, I will sit in a buffet and I will sleep. This is serious. Like I was sleep in a buffet for like a little bit of time, and then I wake up again, I eat, and then I wake up, I go home. And so, because sometimes and then and sometimes I will stay out all night. I just like because it's you find the joy that you get from it. I don't know for some reason there's an inner joy that comes from it, and you can like wake up very strong again. You can come back very strong and you were earlier on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. These times are important. You can definitely discover a lot of things about yourself the moment you start to have that me time. You know,
Yep,
that solo time. You can definitely, like, sometimes you can discover that there's so much quietly and peace. You know, in or by you just being by yourself. It's not
yep,
every time you need to be with people, man. Like, but again, people take things different, understand things different, and some of these things we are not ready taught. We are not taught them. Um, you know, at any point in our life, we're not taught some of these things. So we are so caught up with society at the point that if we, like we said, sometimes if we try to do these things, it feels so weird. Like, you know, it feels like, okay, why am I doing this? Like, but trust me, the
yep.
more you do it, the better you become at it. So, and that's the reason why we
Absolutely.
are bringing you all of these reality things, because these are things that we were never taught, even as young people growing up. Even our parents never knew these things, so they never
Yep,
taught us them. You know what I'm saying? Or taught them to us. And now we have discovered these things. It's never too late to build this new habit. It's never too late, and that's for every one of us. You know, it's never too late to build this new habit. Trust me, sometimes these things are worth it. Yeah, these
yep,
things are worth it. But you will never know unless you try it. We can say all the good things about this or the bad thing about them on the other side. But if you haven't decided to, take that step, trust me, you will never know. You will never discover, what we are talking about. That that
yep.
peace. Yeah, you
You
never
can try it
discover.
right now, audience. I mean, guys, you can literally try it right now. Why not? Take yourself out and not just it doesn't have to be food, right? It got to be it can be to amusement park, um,
Hmm.
to to picnic or whatnot, sit on enjoy nature, right? It's I mean, it's not like you are actually worshiping nature or nothing. It's just that there are actually power that come from after you do it, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And because I've done it so much, and I feel energized, you know.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah. For me, yeah, I'm product. Myself. I'm a product example. A lot of time, even at work, a lot of time work is tense. You are overcrowded with teams, and you know, just even your lunchtime or break time, take that moment, just go somewhere quiet and just sit down. Even for that 30 minutes or like 45 or 1 hour you have, just sit down and try to take 10 minutes of that time, 15 minutes of that time, and just relax your mind and have that calmness. You know what I'm saying? And then just sort of reflect on some things. And trust me, a lot of time it make you feel energized. It make sometimes you can discover something new about yourself in that moment. Just in that moment, you can discover something new. So it's worth a try, guys. It's worth a try. Um, we're trying to speed up things a little bit because we have other things coming up today. Today's a very busy day for us.
yep,
Exciting, but yeah. Um, building self awareness, which also I think kind of
like
intertwined with previous one.
right. But it's just that it's except that a little bit go into what we're talking about self love.
Exactly, exactly.
Right? Self love is very important, and people don't realize this is important. It's not like you're trying to be selfish. It's just that you're trying to take the positive in from the negative. Trying. It's not like you're trying to build. Well, it's a resilient building skills. However, it's very natural. Um, well, it's very it's very natural for us to not love ourselves, you know.
Yeah,
But building a self awareness will make you to will give you the tools. In other words, to self reflect, to discover yourself, and to love yourself more. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you said everything already. Um, you know, have that build that self awareness. Have that moment for yourself where you can create time to assess your life, love yourself, to be honest. I mean, and this create a whole lot of a time where you can have for reflection, for growth, for love, for personal development, and all of these great tools. So yeah, it is a good one.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that's it for we're gonna be doing the third one, and then we'll just go into our next one, and then which is very much a tip on what we're gonna be sharing after this. We always do on our podcast here. We don't just leave it open. We tell you
yeah.
how to find it. So yeah, what do you think about this one? Reconnecting with God.
This one is good. I mean, I think we have shared tips.
Yeah.
Uh gave a lot of comment about connecting with God or reconnecting with God on most of our episodes. I mean, we are a firm believer, to be honest, and we believe in God 100%. Um, we don't judge anybody if you don't. That's it's up to you. There are a lot of things that we can give account for,
Yeah.
based on what God has done for us in our life personally as an individual. So um honestly, it is great. It is good for we as human being and believers mostly to have that moment of reconnecting with God, you know and that is just a fact that every person, every believer as a whole, you need that time. Listen, it's not everything is not just about going to church. you I think I've discovered that you can learn everything from a church. I think I first shared that the other day. You cannot learn everything from in church.
Yeah.
Trust me. There are a lot of churches nowadays, especially in this our era, that from January to December they preach the 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 sermons they preach. If you try to categorize it or distinguish it, there are a lot of similarity into a lot of them than differences. If it's not about tie, it's about giving, it's about this, about there is no time that people you know you can learn personal development from the Bible. You can learn self-awareness from the Bible. You like I shared the other day, anything about life, you can learn it from the Bible. You just
Absolutely.
need to take your time and read. That's all you need. Take that time and read and pray. Just you just need to take that time off. But many of us, man, the only time we get to open the Bible is Sunday in church.
Yeah.
When we come home, that's it. That book is nowhere to be found until Sunday morning. We find it and we back. From there, we put it down. Listen, if you want to grow up like that as a believer, trust me, you're gonna be missing out a lot of stuff. You can
Yeah.
discover a lot of things about yourself, even just by reading the Word of God. So you need to reconnect yourself. Have that moment with God, like that quietly, like we said. You know, take your Bible, your pen, a pencil, or whatever, your notepad, and just go somewhere quiet. Even at that moment where you're having that self reflection or that self assessment or self awareness, you know, just take 5, 10, 15, 15 minutes and just, read a word, pray, and just have that moment with you and your creator, you know.
Yeah.
And these things gonna improve you a lot as a person, to be honest. And mostly for believers, it is good to try these things out. You never know. You never know, what will be the benefit, what will be the outcome of it unless you try it out. So reconnecting with God is a great thing that you know, we need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something we
And
really need to do, to be honest. 100.
it is absolutely needed, especially in our religious environment wherein we're always taught in the what's the term? To not forsake public or forsake gatherings and
Yeah,
all
the
of
gathering
that.
of the
But
assembly or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yep, we notice many times Moses again would distance himself from the people and will go and see God's face because it's just like reconnecting yourself with your purpose is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right.
If you whatever if you again you don't have to be a attended by a religion called Christianity. You don't have you can be whatever you term as God, right? So it's like um whatever you want, but the point is reconnecting. It reconnects you again to yourself, to your true self, you know. And I use the term very carefully here into what we consider imitations. We imitate other people and we are not ourselves, you know. But if you reconnect yourself with God, you understand that you connect yourself to your true purpose. He gave you your true meaning for your life again, and you come out more very strong than ever before. So
Yeah.
again, it's not going to be easy for sure. That's for sure.
Nice.
It's it is not going to be easy. When I first started reading the Bible, I started because I grew up with a Korean missionaries, and they taught us this, yeah. And I was like, if I wish I wish everybody knew this. They started with us like 5 scriptures a day, right? We should read 5 scriptures a day. I will go and take that Bible. I will be sleeping, but it's it's not easy. I'm telling you, it's not
Yeah.
easy to just. You might think it's boring, right? It's not easy. And like Walmart, they have this yearly Bible plan sheet they will give us, and then we'll cross. It's not going to be easy, bro. But as you keep reading it, you understand that as you keep reading it, the point is if you have the courage to do it, and at a certain point, I started reading. I started going 10, 15 a day because I feel the joy of reading it now. So that we want to urge everyone to do this because it reconnects you to their purpose. I just am tired of preachers just preaching at you every time. Oh, you are saying this and that. No, it's right. That instead of like there are two things I've noticed. I don't know if you have noticed in the religious community. They preach at you, number one, or they either afraid to preach about sins because they might think that you might leave the church, and
Yeah.
most people go now to show kosu or to dress up and do all of this stuff. But
It's all
if you
about
recon,
competition nowadays, even in the churches now. People don't really
right,
go to church now for really, and the purpose of you going to church is to also understand the word and
absolutely,
reconnecting yourself with God as well, because that's the moment where everyone is gathering to you know have that time with that creator. But nowadays we go, people just there, if it's not about the money, it's about what someone else is wear that is not good, and um how other people feel about other people, and competition, and hate. Bro, in the churches nowadays, a lot of things happen, man. A lot of things happen in the
absolutely.
churches nowadays, and even outside, to be honest.
And
Like,
I don't know. I was because I was researching and I saw in Atlanta, and again I'm not going to share, but like in Atlanta, I don't know certain state, but there is this. I was scrolling through social media and I saw it. There is this church that has been established, right? They call it the Christian Club.
mm,
What all they do is they play music, everybody dancing, 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 and they have the DJ going from one music to Christian music to the other, and everyone is dancing. It's called a Christian Club.
wow, yeah,
You know,
that's where we are heading now, man.
right? So, but and then which is why we use the term reconnecting, because you connected with God first, now you distance yourself, now you reconnecting.
Yeah,
Because if you reconnect with God and you will kind of like see all of these things, what something is going wrong, and it disciplines you. You find your purpose, and then it disciplines you, and then it disciplines your life.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know,
Uh,
uh,
all right, guys. Thank you again for listening and tuning in. I don't know if there's a comment. Okay, but
uh, nothing yet so far.
okay, but yeah, we another thing that we're going to be looking at is um we're almost there, overcoming the fear of being alone. How can you overcome this? This is a tips that we're going to give here. Again, we are expressing our opinion, and we're going to with just some of it are research based, some of it are fact based proof that works for us.
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, for sure, for sure. You know, overcoming the fear of being alone. Some practical tips that we're gonna give here. Firstly, we're gonna be looking at um, reframe loneliness as an opportunity for growth rather than something to fear. I think we already make it clear.
We already make it clear,
Uh,
like
right.
just to kind of brush over it, like you gotta we change our grow from wherein we think that being alone is something to fear, that use it instead use it as an opportunity to grow and reconnect.
Yeah, absolutely. Solitude is an opportunity to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. All right. So once you understand that, you will know that being alone does not mean that you are lonely. It doesn't mean you are
Yep.
lonely. You are just creating that solitary time for yourself, and it's just an opportunity where you can recharge. You can reflect on yourself, and also be able to reconnect with your inner self. you know so re reframing that, you know that mentality is great. It's a great tool to have, or it's a great mindset to have. You know um and understand that it is a time for you to grow. You know and trust me, nobody's saying having this fear is wrong. You can you can have that fear, but redefining that fear is what we are talking about.
Yep.
Instead of you focusing on the negative part of it, redefine that fear, positively. Like, okay, I want to use this time to grow. I want to use this time to reflect on my life. I want to use this time to recharge and reconnect with myself as a person. Instead of you just thinking how people will feel about you, how society going to judge you, what would be the negative outcome, redefine it, you know, reframe it, reconstruct your mind. All right.
Yep.
So, and that's basically what we are trying to say. You know, instead of you fearing that, oh, you cannot do this. um what would people say, and every other thing, you know think about something positive too as well. you
Yep.
know Solitude is a great, it's a great opportunity for you to reconnect with yourself. It doesn't mean you are lonely or you are a weirdo or whatever, you're gonna feel by yourself.
Yep.
you know yeah.
We're just going to go to the second one here, which is start with short periods of intentional alone time. We already mentioned that. And again, turn engage in hobbies or activities that you enjoy solo, which you just mentioned. Um, it's important again, guys. So, in order for you to overcome the fear of being alone, engage in habits, whatever thing you consider a habit, whatever thing you enjoy, whatever thing you love to do, by yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's how you
Yeah.
overcome. You overcome it.
Let me just throw some light. Like many of us that are into music and stuff, I think this is a great thing because um, it gave you a moment where you can kind of be by yourself to learn something, learn some new skills and stuff. Um, Maybe you're someone um that really find it hard to really adjust yourself to be alone. Like you think that's
Yeah.
something hard to do. Sometimes engage into something um something enjoyable, like some music and stuff. Have that learn that new skills, like maybe learn how to play the piano or to play the guitar, or maybe to sing. Like just have that time by yourself. Learn these new hobbies and stuff. Engage in the activities that you think you can really enjoy. Maybe it can be by um like many people that can go hiking, or maybe you want to go mountain climbing or rock climbing, or you want to ride a bicycle, go cycling around. Just engage yourself into something that you think that you're going to enjoy, that just going to give you that moment that you can be by yourself to think about your life.
Yep.
you know like when I was learning how to play piano back in Africa, like way back a couple years back, um you know it really used to bring me that joy sometimes to just be by myself. Even though, like, listen, I wasn't a pro, but just by me sitting in my room and just doing something, practicing, and just learning some new songs and learning some new skills on the keys and stuff, it really used to help me a lot. Like sometimes before I noticed, like 2 3 hours gone by just by me having that moment by myself and just being by myself and learning these new things. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
it's good that sometimes you try to engage in these things. They're gonna help you a lot. There are a lot of things out there that you can engage into. A lot of hobbies out there. It can, even if you're not someone that loves music, discover something else. You know, um, maybe just take a walk. Maybe you're just someone that love walking, and or go go to the gym sometimes. Like go to the gym. They have places sometimes in the gym that a lot of people are not ready there. You can go there, have some time for by yourself, and just sit, work out, do some other stuff, or just go jogging and have a journal. Maybe you have a journal. You're someone that love to write and stuff like that. Sit down and have that time where you can just write, create a story, create a story, and just do something engaging, something exciting, just something that would keep you going as a person by yourself, and have that sense of reflect. Yeah.
Yep. Which absolutely just nail it on the head. On the head, doing activities that you love to do best. I mean, you know what you love to do. You know what you find fulfillment in. You know what you love, what brings joy to your soul. So just, just discover it and just start doing it. You can start anytime. You can start today. You can start tomorrow. Um, just have that long time. That's what we're saying. So we're gonna lead on into our last point. Practice journaling, like you mentioned earlier on, or meditation to
Yeah.
explore your thoughts. Um, very key,
Meditation is
very
great.
important.
Meditation is very, very great. I didn't want to mention it because I know we're gonna bring it out. But meditation is one of the best tool, bro.
Mm,
And it's so great to the extent that at that time of your life, you most of the time discover your purpose. You most of the time discover who you really, really, really are, because it's at a point where you you empty yourself, like you your spirit, man, feel elevated. you know that's how I feel, like your spirits feel elevated, like you you embraces nature, you embraces
Yeah,
life as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Because you are out of everything. You are out of distraction, you know, and you are just in that moment where it's all about you yourself. you know.
absolutely.
So meditation is one of the great tool, that you can use too as well. Um, and trust me, you don't have to start big. All of these things, it's not things that you can just start, like and start doing everything. Just start little by little. It's a gradual, a gradual step. It takes time, but it starts with you yourself, just redefining your alone time. Sometimes many of us take our alone time to be a time of emptiness. If we could
Yep,
have redefined that as a time of fulfillment, a time of being full, I think it will kind of change your perspective too as well. So, you know, um, start small, shift your perspective, okay? Your perspective about yourself or about being alone. Shift that perspective about that aspect of life. It's good to rediscover yourself, rediscover your purpose. And all of these comes with all of these tools that we have listed, practice journaling, learn new hobbies, do activities that you love, meditate, you know, and these things gonna help you rediscover yourself and understand who you really are. Yeah.
100%, 100%. And again, sometimes I think especially the Buddhist practice this meditation.
Mm.
Again, it's not that you have Buddhist if you practice meditation. It's just important, right? It's just important. It's just like you sit down and reflect. You let negative energy out. You let negative energy out. And practicing journaling is a very valid and very great tool that I wish everyone use. Um, and again, you don't have to have your thoughts like into sequences. You can just start by writing in a free writing whatever comes to your mind. Um, it's just all about that zebras, definitely letting it out. You just writing, and then if you practice it over time, you get um, you enjoy it, and then you start putting meaningful thoughts together.
Yeah. Yeah. Start and it all start with you, just making that move. Journaling is a great tool. I used to really do that. I used to love writing, to be honest. But now I time I do it on my phone,
Yep,
instead of because bro, I used to have like notepad everywhere. Like sometimes like 7, 8 notepads just everywhere, and I was like, nah, this is getting too much. And sometimes I just get confused when I even put some stuff. So
yeah,
nowadays I just, you know, have a note, on my phone where everything like, if something comes to mind, I just go there, drop it down, and sometimes I take my phone. And that's how I'm able to even keep track of things, you know, and be able to readjust and reassess myself. So it is good, technology make it easy sometimes.
yep,
And even on the phone, they have a journal, that you can use to kind of, you know, as a tool too as well. So yeah, learn these things, practice these things. You never know. Um, you know, the fear of being alone is natural, to be honest. And it doesn't have to control you, but it's something that you can embrace, and it's a learning
absolutely.
process. You
Yep,
know, it's a natural process, to be honest. The fear of being alone is natural. Like nobody want to be alone. Like I said, we are all programmed, all built as a social being. That's our nature, man.
yep,
That's our nature. So um it's not something easy that you can just do, but it's something worth doing.
yep,
It's something worth doing. And it's just it's done. A lot of time we just think that is something totally bad or negative, but it's just a time for you to just sit and reflect on yourself. It mean that you should go whole years not being by yourself. No, that's
oh
not
no,
what
that's
we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But so maybe I should just live my life just by myself. Go no, no. Like we said, have a sense of balance. You know, have a
I mean,
balance. Mhm.
here is what I can say on that. If you are, if you notice that your environment is always toxic and negative, there are a lot of negative energy in what you're trying to do, and if it causes you to be could be alone for a while, that which is why it's, you can understand because you want to move away from that negative space,
Yeah.
um, to find yourself again. If you are among gangs or people who do wrong thing and
Mhm.
you want to leave them, trying to leave them for a long time, that's fine. But like
Yeah, yeah,
we're trying to,
yeah,
yeah, you can you again assessing your environment is the very thing that you want to do. So and then you decide what you if it's worth it and you make the move.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was a great episode today. A great talk today. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate the few comments that came in. We appreciate you also following us live this morning on today's episode. The fear of being alone.
Yep,
Again, like we said, it's a natural tendency. It's a natural thing. Don't take it different. Don't see it as something totally different. Um, Embrace it, but also try to reassess it. You know, change your perspective about it. Sometimes, don't look at it as something just totally negative. There are a lot of positive outcomes that can come from it as well. So, it
absolutely.
also help you to discover your purpose as a person. And I think we have an episode out there that talk about purpose that you can find on YouTube. Um, so again, thank you. Please continue to follow us. If you know someone out there that um that is going through this, please feel free to share these videos with them. It might not benefit you because probably you're someone that's currently doing it, but there's someone out there who might have this fear or going through this moment, and this video can serve as an encouragement for them and many other videos that we have out there too as well. um Thank you to all of our viewers. We really really appreciate you all, for tuning in to our episode, to our various episodes that we have had, and also to our talk show as well. Thank you for following us. And if you have not followed us, please follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. We are on all the
Absolutely.
social media platforms you can think about. Click that notification button so that you can get notified whenever we go live on YouTube and Instagram. Sooner we're gonna be live on Facebook as well. We are still sorting some things out on Facebook. But hopefully we can get things fixed sooner. Also we do apologize for the lateness on our part. It's a gradual process. We will get there. Making it
Yeah.
up, but yeah. So
And yeah, I think again, stay tuned for another fascinating episode on tomorrow. We are here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to bring you reality talk shows. Um, as we know it, truth, experience, research based. We're here to bring everything raw.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's how we wrap up, and that's how we call it our day. Thank you so much for tuning into today episode, and thank you for being here with us.